year is 1944. World War II rages across the globe. But in the shadows, beyond the battlefield, one man is about to change the course of history, not with a gun, but with deception. His name, Juan Pujol Garcia. A man so skilled in the art of lying, he convinced Hitler himself that his fabricated network of spies was real. But how did an ordinary man become the most trusted spy of the Nazis, while secretly working for the Allies? And how did his greatest deception help turn the tide of the war? This is the story of the spy who fooled Hitler. World War II was not just fought on battlefields, it was a war of intelligence. The Nazis had a vast network of spies across Europe, feeding them information, planning their next move. The Allies, desperate to counter the Axis threat, sought out double agents, people who could infiltrate enemy ranks and feed them false information. But among all the spies, one man stood out: Juan Pujol Garcia, a man with no military background, no formal training in espionage, and yet, he would become one of the most critical players in the war. But first, he had to earn the Nazis' trust. Juan Pujol Garcia wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a government agent. But he had a passion, an obsession, to fight against the Nazis. Rejected multiple times by British intelligence, he decided to take matters into his own hands. From Lisbon, he created a completely fake identity. An anti-British Nazi sympathizer willing to spy for the Third Reich. Using nothing more than newspapers and his imagination, he fabricated intelligence reports, and the Nazis believed him. But this was just the beginning. Soon, his deception would grow beyond anything the world had ever seen. With nothing but a typewriter and an incredible ability to lie, Pujol created an entire network of fictional spies. He invented names, backstories, and reports so detailed that even seasoned Nazi intelligence officers couldn't question them. From imaginary informants in London to fake messages about troop movements, every detail was designed to mislead. But the stakes were high. One inconsistency, one small mistake, and his entire house of lies could collapse. And with the Nazis now investing in him, the danger was only growing. By 1942, Pujol had done the impossible. The Nazis fully trusted him. They gave him the codename Agent Arabelle and considered him one of their most valuable spies. They sent him money, resources, and even tasked him with gathering intelligence about the upcoming Allied invasion of France. But what they didn't know was that every single report he sent was a carefully constructed lie. The deception was working, and now the British were ready to take his genius to the next level: Operation Fortitude. The success of D-Day depended on one thing: surprise. The Allies knew that if the Nazis reinforced Normandy, the invasion could fail. And so, Operation Fortitude was born. The plan? To convince the Germans that the real invasion would take place at Pas-de-Calais, far from Normandy. And at the heart of it all, Pujol. He sent message after message, warning the Nazis of an attack that would never come, and they believed him. The trap was set, but would it be enough? June 6, 1944. The beaches of Normandy explode with gunfire and chaos as Allied troops storm the shore. But far away, in Nazi war rooms, generals wait for an invasion at Pas-de-Calais that will never arrive. Thanks to Pujol's deception, German reinforcements are held back. By the time they realize the truth, it's too late. The Allies have gained a crucial foothold in Europe. And Pujol? He has just played the most critical role in the success of D-Day, without ever firing a single shot. D-Day was a success, but the deception didn't end there. Pujol continued feeding false information to the Nazis, ensuring they remained confused and unprepared for future attacks. And in a twist of irony, the Germans were so convinced of his loyalty that they awarded him the Iron Cross, one of their highest military honors. Meanwhile, the British recognized his genius, giving him the Order of the British Empire. He was, perhaps, the only man in history to be decorated by both sides of the war. And yet, neither truly knew who he was. As the war ended, Pujol knew one thing: if the Nazis discovered the truth, they would hunt him down. And so, he disappeared. He faked his own death and vanished, living in secrecy for decades. Only years later did the world learn the full extent of his incredible deception. The man they called Garbo had fooled Hitler, saved thousands of lives, and altered the course of history. But even in death, his story remains one of the greatest secrets of World War II. Juan Pujol Garcia's story is proof that sometimes the greatest battles are won not with weapons, but with intelligence. What if he had been caught? What if the deception had failed? One man's lies changed the fate of the world forever. But history is full of untold stories. What other secrets lie hidden in the past? If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification